Police are standing by for your calls because with your help we aim to crack this cold case, the mysterious disappearance of two beautiful teenage girls. Here's Alex Cullen with our special investigation.
July 1972. Neil Young was on the radio. Gough Whitlam, soon to be Prime Minister. And in Melbourne, two bright young design students, 18-year-old Robin Hoinville-Bartram and 19-year-old Anita Cunningham, leave to hitchhike up the east coast. But they're never heard from again. 4 months later, Robin's body is found under a bridge in far north Queensland.
The way that she was killed, 2 bullets in the back of the head, it's almost like an execution.
It's one of Australia's most baffling unsolved murders.
The worst thing that you could possibly imagine happened to this family.
And 42 years later, Anita is still missing.
I haven't got a grave to put flowers on.
There was one thing after another. We kept on it was like a Pandora's box of absolute horrible.
Horrible, like Ivan Milat.
You can't rule him out.
And like convicted killer John Andrew Stewart.
He was a sadistic, psychotic killer.
And there's one other stunning mystery.
That's what I would imagine a woman of, say, 60 to look like.
Did one of the girls survive? Is Anita Cunningham still alive?
Yes.
If Anita's out there, we'd love to hear from you.
Are you Anita Cunningham?
What would you do other than want the truth?
What made Robin Robin?
Robin was full of life. That's what made Robin Robin. She had a good laugh. It was like her. It was just summed her up. It was gutsy.
Robin grew up in the seaside town of Bowen, near Townsville in Queensland. Her mum was an author and her dad, Australia's first skywriter.
She was 3 years younger than me.
Tina Owens is Robin's cousin, but they were more like sisters.
The Robin I knew when I was growing up as a cousin was loving, lots of fun to be with.
Robin was dux of her school and at 17 won a scholarship to the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology to study design.
She just lived like you would if you were released from a country town in the city.
Who were the people she was meeting?
Well, Anita was the main one.
These are home movies of Anita. She had 2 brothers. Her dad, Gerald, was a Melbourne racehorse owner who made his fortune in construction. Her mum, Eileen, stayed home to raise their kids.
She was keen on horses. She was a very good horsewoman. She was outgoing and she was just a nice girl.
She was bright, confident, intelligent. She was sort of very beautiful and feminine, but she was a real tomboy as well.
Anita and Robin met at college. They shared a love of art and design. And in April 1972, they decided to share a flat.
We're going to have a party here at the flat on Friday night. There'll be about 40 kids squashed into a flat. Can you imagine it?
It's not going to pass around. Yeah.
Robin was trying new things.
Yes, I do smoke marijuana now.
And she wrote about it in letters to friends.
Friday night in the Carlton pubs with some bikies Anita knows and a party afterwards till 4 a.m. On Sunday, John and Jamie, 2 of the renegades, came round for the day.
I met Anita once.
Well, what was your first impression? I don't know, you want to be careful with what you say, but...
I was a bit scared of her, mate.
Yeah.
But based just on what she was wearing, based on just a one-meeting demeanour, based on what my mum and my uncles were saying, based on a whole lot of things, because we kind of felt she was being led astray.
Are you excited to go home to Bowen? I miss Mum.
It It was going to be a big trip.
And then Sydney, I don't think we'll have any problem getting a lift.
Yeah.
2,500 kilometres from Melbourne to Bowen.
We discussed it with them and said they ought to fly up there, and we would shout them the flight, and, you know, no need to hitchhike. But then that was the rage in those days. All of the kids were hitchhiking everywhere around Australia.
All right, you take care.
Thanks, Mr. Cunningham.
Lots of fun. This is where the girls were dropped off to make their way north. And that was the last time that we know that anybody saw them.
Anita's dad dropped them off at 11:15 on July the 1st, 1972. Anita's mum told her to keep in touch.
She was told to ring reverse charges, and she promised faithfully, and I know she would have kept her word.
But 2 weeks later, when there was no word from either girl, Eileen went to the police.
And when I went to the police in the first place, and she'd only been away for 2 weeks, and I said, my daughter hasn't come back. He said, how old is she? I said, she's 19. He said, she's old enough to go off on her own. Why? You shouldn't be worrying about her.
I think they got into trouble pretty quick, and that was it.
In late October, a close family friend of the Cunninghams, airline pilot Keith Galloway, believes he saw Anita at a bar in this laneway in the heart of Melbourne. This was 3 months after the girls had left home, during which time they'd contacted no one. The possible sighting briefly raised hopes that both girls were still alive. But 3 weeks later, more than 2,000 kilometres from home, at a place called Sensible Creek, a crime that didn't make sense. On the 15th of November, 4 months after Robin and Anita left Melbourne, Robin's body was discovered by a group of railway workers who'd stopped for lunch under a bridge in outback Queensland. She'd been shot twice in the back of the head with a .22 rifle. Police estimated she'd been dead for 3 months.
Yeah. Oh, Robbie.
What do you see in that photo?
Innocence. Fragility. Lost. Alone. Protect me.
4 decades on, and the murder investigation has returned to Sensible Creek, 360 kilometres west of Bowen, Robin's hometown.
It'll be good to finally see the countryside where Robin's body was found, and to wonder where out there Anita might be.
It's the first time Anita's brother, David, has been here. With him, a former Detective Sergeant Barry Maff, one of the early investigating officers on the case, and Mick Dowie, the head of Queensland's cold case squad.
As you can see, the pylons just the other side of here is where Robin's remains were found.
Yeah.
We don't know whether Robin was murdered here or whether she was murdered somewhere else and placed here.
And what was she wearing?
Naked from the waist down. That would suggest that the murder was probably sexually motivated.
Robin's body was badly decomposed.
Basically a skeleton.
Tell me how she was killed.
Had 2 bullet wounds from a .22 calibre at the back of the head, probably an inch apart. It looked a bit like an execution type killing.
But if it was an execution, why Robin? A girl with no criminal background. And what was the significance of the ghoulish discovery near her body of the rotting, stinking carcasses of 4 bush turkeys?
It's very unusual that the turkeys were there because it would almost go to show that they were trying to mask a smell. If you're going to mask the smell, then obviously it would appear that someone's been around long enough to know that the body is smelling and they need to mask the smell.
Robin's was the first in a string of 6 still unsolved hitchhiker murders in Queensland between 1972 and 1976. Is there a connection between all 6 murders? Was this the work of a serial killer? Among the suspects, Ivan Milat, who abducted and killed at least 7 backpackers in the 1990s. Like Robin, some were shot in the head and buried in shallow graves. In 1971, Milat was arrested for the kidnap of 2 young women near Sydney. One had been raped. Milat beat the charges and was released. A year later, Anita and Robin disappeared while hitchhiking.
We followed this right through and he wasn't around at the time.
We were told Milat when it probably wasn't, and that kept on happening. Red herrings. I kind of don't understand it.
If not Milat, then was it this man, John Andrew Stewart? Once branded Australia's most violent criminal. In 1973, Stewart says he firebombed Brisbane's Whiskey A Go-Go nightclub on the orders of an organised crime gang. 15 people perished.
This is a very dangerous customer. He was a sadistic, psychotic killer. End of story.
John Garner is a former crime scene investigator for the Queensland Police.
I'm just trying to find it.
He was asked to look into the case by Kathleen Bertrand, who was Robin's classmate through high school.
I considered her to be my best friend. To think that she was just executed and dumped in a creek bed, I couldn't understand it. I just couldn't.
So, with John's help, she began reinvestigating the case. Perhaps the biggest clue was the way Robin was killed.
Executed, gangland style, by 2 bullet holes to the back of the brain. And I thought, well, what you're looking for is an underworld character. It's not a serial killer. That's, you know, for some reason or other, she's been targeted by the underworld.
How sure are you that Anita Cunningham is
Still alive?
He put a warning on the bed. Don't go to the cops.
It's been too long. Give those girls peace.
Before they went hitchhiking, Robin wrote about Anita's friends in some of her letters.
On Saturday morning, we went to get some parts for the bike. The shop's where lots of Melbourne bikies meet. Anita knows quite a few of them.
If Anita Cunningham was mixing with bikies, like the Renegades, then the possible involvement of an underworld figure begins to make more sense. Through a chance conversation, John Garner learned that John Stewart was seen in the area just days before Robin's body was found. Randall Wilson was a 21-year-old railway worker when he came across Stewart drinking at this local pub.
But I can still remember him sitting beside me, dark hair, and especially his eyes were just black, like shark eyes.
John Stewart got talking to Randall at the bar and later broke into his room here at the back of the pub. Randall returned to find his possessions gone and his clothes laid out perfectly on the bed in the shape of a body.
He put a warning on the bed. It's, you know, here's the clothes dressed set out as a body. Now, to me, coming from an underworld person like that, that's a warning. Don't go to the cops.
In a chilling coincidence, John Andrew Stewart disposed of some of Randall's belongings at the same bridge, at the same site where Robin's body was found 10 days later.
My gear was thrown in the same creek as Robin was found in. So that's to my knowledge that he's been in the same area and in the same creek. So that's where I think he had a lot to do with it.
So you have to ask yourself, what do you think your chances are? You've got a psychotic killer, underworld type person like that, and he's on the very same bridge.
So you think John Stewart killed Robin?
That is my belief, yes.
The problem police had with this theory was the state of Robin's body. it was little more than a skeleton. The decomposition convinced them that she was murdered at least 3 months before Stewart was in town.
It can't be a suspect because of the time the body was alleged to have been there.
But could the forensics be wrong?
Well, the locals will tell you that a body will be skeletonized in a night, a single night, with all the pigs and stuff there.
Pigs go in and they can demolish a whole cow overnight. You know, pigs can demolish a human in the same way, so I'm not sure how they'd work out a time frame, but I know very well a body can be reduced to just skin and bone overnight. I know that for a fact.
John Stewart died in prison while on a hunger strike in 1979. Robin Hoinville-Bartram now lies in this grave. But one of the great mysteries of this baffling case is that Anita Cunningham has never been found. Was she also murdered by the same person? Or did she somehow escape and go into a lifetime of hiding? After Robin's death, police visited Anita's mother. It didn't go well.
I showed them photos, gave them hair from her hairbrush. And they said, "Why aren't you crying?" And I said, "Because I'm not going to cry in front of you." They wanted something spectacular.
Did you feel like they were treating you as a suspect?
No, I just didn't feel they were interested. I think they thought I was just being a silly woman.
In October 1972, a family friend swears he glimpsed Anita in a Melbourne bar. She was 19 then.
Okay, let's try that again.
Now using the computer facial identification technology he developed while serving in the force, John Garner reveals how she would look today.
That's what I would imagine a woman of, say, 60 to look like, and Anita would be that.
There is an off chance we might convince Anita to come out. That would be very nice.
And in this search for answers, Kathleen Bertram has tried everything, including enlisting the help of an unusual investigator, Anne Villiers.
How long have you been working on this case?
Well, there's the date. 4th of July, 2004. She actually came at 3:30 p.m. and to today.
Her column was well known to readers of Woman's Day. She's a psychic.
This is telling me somebody needed to get away. Somebody had to get away. So in someone having to get away means somebody survived. So the two girls didn't die together.
And you think she's still alive today?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
How sure are you?
99.99%.
That Anita Cunningham is
Still alive.
today?
Yes.
Did one of the girls survive?
I smell a rat.
There is another piece to the jigsaw puzzle.
We still don't know why.
They want answers. You have nothing.
Someone out there knows.
One of Australia's greatest unsolved crimes has many mysteries, not least why was one girl executed and why has the other, Anita Cunningham, simply vanished? And could she still be alive? Here's Alex Cullen with the dramatic conclusion to the Hitchhiker murders.
The diploma of clinical hypnotherapy may lead some to dismiss her. But Anne Villiers has strong support from the friends and family of Robin Hoinville-Bartram. They believe she has done more to solve this confounding murder mystery than the police.
The evidence that Annie has dug up.
Anne Villiers?
Yes. The evidence that she has uncovered is meticulous.
Anne's been working on this case for 10 years.
I love finding missing persons and tracking information.
So you're a psychic investigator?
Yeah, but if you say that with police, particularly in Queensland, it's like it's almost taboo. You know, they don't want to. I want my work to speak for itself. What I do, can stand up in a court.
Let's talk about your theories.
No theories.
No theories?
No theories.
What do you call them?
Fact.
Among the claims that Anne asserts as fact is this. Anita Cunningham is alive, is being sheltered by her family, including her brother David, and now goes by the name of Jody Borland. Anne Villiers says it was the family link that led her to the woman posing as Jody. Anne claims she then asked a series of intimate questions that only Anita could answer.
We spoke for about an hour and a half. The lady told me some things that were so personal.
Which lady?
That Jody Borland, you know. She told me things that when the one or two times I had spoken with David, he couldn't even answer the questions, but she was able to answer questions.
Like what? Which questions?
I don't want to say because that's for police.
Okay.
Okay, it was very, very personal, intimate things, and some of them I didn't even ask her. She just went off and started talking, and I just let her talk.
Then she compared photos of Jody Borland and Anita Cunningham. Here she circled what she says is an identical scar on the forehead of both. Has Anita Cunningham assumed the identity of Jody Borland?
I don't know until Jody Borland has had a DNA to eliminate it.
Through another source, we were given the address of Jody Borland. She was anxious to meet us. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
You must be Jody.
I'm Jody Borland.
If the psychic is to be believed, I'm now sitting down with a woman who's been living a lie for 42 years.
First of all, I'm just going to ask this question straight off the bat. Are you Anita Cunningham?
No, I'm not.
But there is a link to Anita's family. Jody was once the partner of David Cunningham, Anita's brother. They have a daughter together. Nor were we the first to visit Jody because of information supplied by Anne Villiers.
She had the police raiding my daughter's mother's house, thinking that she was my sister.
Having the cold case police come to my door was quite horrific, and when they asked me straight up whether I was Anita Cunningham, and I just said, no, I'm not. I think it's ridiculous that you're accusing me of having a baby with my brother.
You know, just ludicrous stuff like that. And you just think, get a life, you know?
I've spoken to Jody Borland. I've met her.
Very articulate lady.
I can categorically tell you that that is not Anita Cunningham. What if you've caused the Cunninghams all this pain and angst for nothing? Could you be wrong?
I'm sticking by what I got.
And for Anita's family, that includes the most hurtful claim of all. That Anita, either accidentally or deliberately, shot and killed Robin.
When you look at the nature of the stories that she's telling, I think they're very offensive and insulting about my sister and about my family.
How do you hitchhike when you're carrying a gun? I wouldn't pick up anyone doing that.
Anita carrying a gun, well...
Yeah, fat chance. And let's say, OK, let's say she did. We're having a fight. OK, I'm going to shoot you. Bang. That's where you get to wear it, not there.
And what do you think of her claims?
Well, none of them have been substantiated. I listened to everything she said, and we worked on what information she gave us, and nothing came to light. So, yeah, as a psychic, I don't think she's achieved much in this particular case anyway.
But that hasn't stopped Anne.
Why did you send an invoice for $250,000 to the Queensland police? You claimed the $250,000 reward, but you didn't solve the case. Okay. Why would you do that?
How do you know you didn't solve the case?
You didn't solve the case. You haven't solved the case.
How do you know?
I think you're out of your depth, Anne.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're making this up as you go along. I think you're stringing this family along because they want answers to questions they've been asking for more than 40 years.
Thank you.
You don't have any facts.
Okay.
You have nothing.
Okay. Well, if I have nothing, then there's nothing to be interviewed over, is there?
Anita's family believe the most likely scenario is that she suffered the same fate as Robin.
She had everything going for her here, you know. It was just going to be off on an adventure for a few weeks. And, you know, that was it. Never heard of again.
And how was your dad dealing with it? He was the last of your family to see them alive. How did he cope?
Well, she was the apple of his eye, you know. I think there's a special relationship between fathers and daughters. So he was just knocked for six, you know.
Anita's dad, Gerald, died, never knowing what happened to his only daughter.
In fact, Gerald and I did discuss at one stage putting a memorial stone up in the cemetery, even though we had nothing to put under it. Which I think I still might do.
If somebody does know something and does come forward and there is another piece to the jigsaw puzzle that's only got 2 pieces on it, then it would be good.
We still don't know why. And that's truthfully the reason I'm here, because there's no peace, there's no closure, there's fear, because we don't know who or what or why.
Well, any minute now we're going to see a plane.
Robin's mum and dad also died, not knowing who killed their daughter or why. They once flew together, writing messages in the sky.
It's absolute connection, isn't it, between heaven and earth, really? That's what I think I was trying to do. I'm sorry.
You're right.
Well, it's just the connection between them two, just for a tiny minute.
4 decades on, a gift from above.
And who's that for?
Robin!
What would you do other than want the truth?
Yeah.
And you can't get the peace without the truth. Someone out there knows. That's why I'm sitting here. Do the right thing. It's been too long. Give those girls peace.
Alex Cullen with that special investigation. And after her interview with Alex, psychic investigator Anne Villiers said she wanted no part of this program. We say this for the record.